Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. I'm your host, Mike. Welcome to the party. Glad to have y'all with us. Oh, what nice lobby music. Yes, that's actually just the in-game sound for end of time. So we're still playing with our Paladin here. Doing really well, really happy with that. And we're just gonna start a brand new timeline here. We're starting Reign of Dragons. We're just gonna hammer this out. No big deal. Easy peasy. If this is your first time here, what we do is we play the video game and answer questions. So if you have a question for me, please feel free to tag at Last Epoch Game in chat, and I will answer your question as soon as I can. It's gonna be a tricky timeline to start off with. We've got the last chapter enemies in it. That's okay. I do quite enjoy them, so it's worth it. Got some sweet heals going on. My health is so elastic. It's just like dips like crazy.
Stand down or die.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. We've got Wilbatron is hosting with one viewer. Welcome to the party. Everyone's welcome. Just heal the full somehow? Wow. Hi, Aaron. How's it going? I heard you and Boardman are going to be doing a chess match. Should be fun. Chess is kind of a light hobby of mine, I would say. Not very good, but I don't know why, I love doing puzzles and I love watching chess videos for some reason. I don't remember how to pronounce his name probably, but Agamadar or Amagadar or something like that. He does a lot of analysis videos of like chess that's happening, and he always has a point in almost every one of his videos where it's like pause the video and try and figure out what to do next. And I love that. It's great. We've got a question here. I asked about how stashes work between cycles a few dev streams ago. Has this been something discussed internally since? Nope. As in, do stashes reset each league and we will have to rebuy them? I don't know. It hasn't been talked about. That sort of thing's I would say a more niche thing. So the way it's set up right now, like they would need to be recreated. They could be like that could be brought over, like it could be changed to an account setting and all that sort of stuff. That wouldn't be hard to do. But it's just not something that we've really discussed or like decided upon how it's going to be yet. Am I like doing Ring Around the Rosie with a patrol here? Looks that way. Yes, sir. Tonight, 6 p.m. PST. Just don't hang any of your pieces, and you'll be good. Let him initiate trades. Don't hang your pieces. You'll be fine. Pressure in the center. From Dark Swift, what would you think of Aaron setting up last Epoch tournament hosted by us? Would you advertise that? It would be a race to see who is the best build. First to kill Lagon wins. First to kill. So I don't know if we'd advertise it ourselves. There are a few community-run tournaments that are awesome. We might be able to do a shout out or something, which would be cool. But yeah, that's.
I cannot do that.
I'll say above my pay grade, but those are pretty good gloves there, actually.
I cannot do that.
There's been some like race to Orbis. Would it be like a tiny race, like everyone queue up outside of Lagon right now, go, who kills him first wins? Or is it like level 1 new characters to kill Lagon, go? You guys planning to add any more skills to the game anytime soon? Every single patch. Yeah, we add new skills every patch. This next one coming up will be no different. And we also rework old skills as well. So like, for example, this patch coming up, Werebear and Spriggan form are being reworked. So they're like technically not new skills, but they're new skills. Yeah, like, so Javelin right here that I'm playing with, that's a new skill from the most recent patch. It was also Void Cleave this patch, this most recent patch. What else is new? Multi-Strike, I think that's this patch. It's really new if it's not. There was something else new. Didn't we add a skill somewhere else or rework a skill somewhere else? Like Mage or something? I don't know. Take the queen out early? No, you don't need to get the queen off the board. And we've got a raiding party from Lone Star McFluffin. Welcome, welcome. 27 people coming in hot. Thank you very much. I believe I saw Bear Leap in the update for next patch. Yes. Does that mean you'll be able to use non-Werebear skills while transformed? No, that is actually one of the new skills for Werebear coming in. So that is a Werebear skill. There is a lot of synergy and integration with other non-Werebear skills. So, like in the tree, there's synergy with Fury Leap, but you can't actually use Fury Leap itself. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. I know the back end name of it. I think it's Maul. I'm gonna go with Maul. It is very fun though. It's a short hop, but it feels really good. Deal some damage, get that slam. Everyone starts a fresh build. Yeah, okay, cool. Will there be anything from the 084 roadmap update that you'll be able to tease? Honestly, I don't remember everything that's in there. I do have a teaser prepped. I don't know if it was in the roadmap or not. A lot of the stuff that people are talking, like, so the a lot of the information that came out with the roadmap update has, I guess, implications that we'll be addressing in a, oh my goodness, that we'll be addressing in a dev blog or two. I just like disappeared. I thought he was at full health. So yeah, we'll be going across a dev blog my smite was supposed to heal or cleanse negative elements. Is that like just not working, or am I just wrong on the nodes? I'm probably just wrong. Yeah, like so I know there was a lot of questions that showed up after we released that, and we will get to them. We want to get as much information out as quickly as possible, and sometimes
I cannot do that.
us knowing that something is going to happen, so we can give it the name for it, is different than all the details on how it's going to happen. So there's still a lot of things that we're working on, a lot of things that we're deciding and fleshing out before we do a full dev log on it. But there will be lots more information to come. I do promise that. I don't know when though. I know that's always the thing, like getting timelines out, but it's like we just don't know until it's done. Yeah, no avalanche. Deal with it. We did reorganize a bunch of. I'll tell you something. Here's a tease. We did reorganize a lot of skills on the prime list. All of them. Not every skill, but like all of the. So like Druid, Beastmaster, and Shaman. I know their names. Also, I thought a sub at I threw a sub at you a few minutes ago. It's not keeping track, but just FYI. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, I don't see that at all. Well, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't get a notification, and I don't see it in my feed at all either. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that and make sure if anyone else does sub, and you don't need to test it, but if someone happens to and it doesn't come through, let me know, please. Yeah, that would not be good. Any hints on the new transform? We want to reveal it kind of in like a larger post. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's what I've been working on all week. Most of the way done the tree right now. It feels great. But like we're still working. There's a lot to do on it still. Like the I think we're in the middle of animations for it right now. So right now when I'm testing things in game, it's actually just the Spriggan model. So we're still a little ways out from it. But at least, tease little things, at least one of the attacks you get in the new form is a melee attack. Yeah. Ooh, bop. We got Mick Zolak. Hi, Mike. Hello. Any news you can share about Healing Wind? Will we see something in 8.4? I thought we removed Healing Wind, didn't we? Am I going crazy? We either have already removed it or I just spoiled something. Will Necro be getting any sort of pass over? I miss playing it. Feels Necro, man. We did a ton of stuff to Necro last patch. I think it really improved a lot of stuff. It's definitely not on the list for major updates anymore because of that. There's lots of things that need a lot more work first. But if you missed last patch, there's a lot of Necro stuff that came in. What's this? Not bad. No, my inventory's full. What am I doing? What am I doing? You may have removed healing one from the game, but not from our hearts. Yeah, okay, so you're wondering if we can bring it back. There's no plans to. There is still one open slot in Primalist, but it's slated for more of a, I would say, spellcastery type skill. Not enough gold. How can that be? Not enough gold. Oh, there's lots of room here. What's going on? I'll sort them one day. We have to remove healing winds. Healing winds is it was too passive, and we didn't have a great way to make it not auto cast friendly and still feel good to use, that we couldn't just do with Eterra's Blessing. And having 2 healing skills seemed to direct the primary function is just straight healing. It felt a little weird. I doubt it'll show up directly as a ability on your bar with a skill tree. It's possible it could show up as a proc ability, or maybe even a node on Eterra's Blessing. I could see that, but yeah, for now it's just we don't have any immediate plans to bring it back in. That's not bad. There we go. So, Aaron, I'm sorry. All the same questions you asked me, whatever day it was a couple days ago, I still can't answer. I checked, and they're all for related to dev blogs that will be coming out. But the question is just to go over them. Legendary color, unrevealed. Sorry. There are only so many gaps in color palettes available where it still will provide contrast and stand out enough. So, you can probably narrow the search down yourselves pretty close. I think it's unlikely we would change other existing colors to make room for it. And so we did have a color picked out, forever ago when we first started. And it'll likely be something pretty similar, but it might get a little hue shift. Only way to get legendaries from Eternity Cache? It's complicated. 8-4 in November. I would, unfortunately, I've got to give the same answer I give every time before a patch comes out, before we announce the release date, is that the date will be relatively consistent with previous patch timelines. So, whatever that is, roughly 3 months. Oh. There we go. Oh, get out, run! Can you share anything on crafting changes? Reimer can't answer. There's not really much we can share. It's not done yet is the problem. So this is the classic story. We like to sort of reveal and share everything we can. Give as much information as possible, just because we know you guys love to give feedback, and we love the feedback we get from you, and having that as soon as possible is really valuable. However, we're still not even through the internal playtest phase of it to see if we want to make any major changes. The big thing I would say about the crafting changes is the main thing we're trying to remove and alleviate from the system is the sudden your crafting's just done. So there needs to be positive and negative possible outcomes for each crafting event attempt. So you go to craft and you say, hey, I want to I want to try and add this affix to the item, or I want to try and reroll this stat on the item. There needs to be a, and we plan to have a positive and negative outcome for that. So like, right now the positive outcome is success, and the negative outcome, oh my goodness, these guys are beefy. Done though. And the negative outcome is fracture. The negative outcome is a little too harsh right now. And the positive outcome is just what you expect to happen in a lot of cases. And there's critical success, so there's a little bit of extra positive outcome. But and so the main goal is to remove that relief or disappointment as the only emotional states generally that show up. So you either get relief that it did what you thought it should do, or disappointment in that it didn't do what you thought it should do. And so we want to make the state rather a little bit more of like when something bad happens, it's still bad and you're still disappointed, but it's not okay, well the item's just done forever no matter what first bad thing that happened. Like there's still a chance something could come up. That's good. And we've seen a lot of, there's actually been a couple suggestions from the community that are like so unbelievably close to what it is right now, at least. And it's a few times I've wanted to just be like, yep, that's it. You got it. But no, we're not there yet.
I cannot do that.
We've got it all designed. We've got new runes. We've got new glyphs. We've got revamps of old ones that won't work anymore. We've like it's all spec'd out. We're just working on a few other things right now. Namely the new dungeon mechanics. That's taking precedent because there's a lot more room for bugs and problems with that. So we want to get that out first in order to playtest it, and it's also like level designs reliant on the dungeon mechanics, and so we like to try and unblock. Like if there's one person that needs to work on two things, and one of those things is going to block someone else, we work on the blocking thing first. Most of the time. Okay. Yeah, you guys are great. There we go. We've got a sub. TNY is gifted a sub to Mixolac. Thank you very much. Looks like the notifications are working now. Maybe they were off for a little bit. We're back up and running. That's great. All right, let's catch up on some more questions here. I kind of rambled for a bit. Hello, Mike. What the H is with that crappy cola ad? I do not know. I didn't know that ads ran. Cool, though. All of the ads do go, all of the revenue we get from Twitch goes directly to this charity, new charity every month, just so you know. So it goes to a good cause. They're doing a lot of stuff with climate research and working with, they take a lot of action working with smaller governments, like city level governments, which I thought was really cool, to actually build up practices that will have direct impact immediately, which is great. Are there any special plans for guilds, clans, like special reward or something like that? So we do like the idea of having guilds and clans and things like that, mostly as a way to interact with and organize players that you like playing with. So just like a really quick and easy way of like, instead of a new friend joins the game, so you've got like 5 people that are playing together, and you get your buddy to join in, and instead of having them come in and like have to add each person individually manually, just add them to the guild, and suddenly they're part of the whole group of friends. You know, it's a lot easier, it's a lot quicker. So like just right from that, there's already benefits of having a guild system. Now we don't want to make people feel like they're forced to. Thank you very much. We got another one, Lone Stomach Fluffin' T1 sub gift to Rob Goblin. I like that name, Rob Goblin. It's like Hobgoblin. Just Rob. Anyways, we don't want people to feel like they are forced into playing in a guild in order to experience the game or like finish a build or anything like that. I could see there being some sort of like, I don't know, this is just off the top of my head, like an earnable MTX for being in a guild that does something. I don't know, you know, like I could see something like that. I wouldn't want to put like power behind it, just because it does create a bit of an onus to join a guild, and we know some people don't like that. So we want to provide ways that you can play together with your friends, and I think the guild is a really good tool for playing together with your friends. But I don't think it should. I think the functionality for playing with your friends that you get out of it should be reason enough to play with it. If that makes any sense. Ho ho ho! That was a big slam. All right. Hey Mike, anything you can tell us about dungeons? And if not, is there a system within another game you can best compare it to? Dungeons are gonna hold a few roles. They're not just gonna be for one thing. I can't really go to. This is another one of those things. Like I know we kind of gave out a lot of information that really begs a lot of questions about, like, okay, what does that actually mean? How is this gonna interact with that? What? And there's a lot of questions that come along with what we've said, and it may have been good to have a little more information ready to go before we did that. But the dungeons are going to tie into a few different systems. They're going to be accessible a little bit earlier in the game. It's something that we... it is tying into endgame systems. It's like... It'll be for more advanced players. Initially, okay, that's a bad way of putting it. Everyone will be able to interact with it just fine. There will be features there that will help more advanced players enjoy the game more as well. Yeah. We're also the initial launch for dungeons that we're doing is pretty like it's really is an initial version of it. So like we do plan to add quite a few more of them. Just tip the iceberg.
I cannot do that.
But I think dungeons are going to be fun. I think they're going to be a nice alternative to monoliths and an arena to get something else to do in there. Yeah. It's a nice helm. I don't really have anything good I can compare it to off the top of my head. Like, I don't know, most, like, Countess runs in D2? Like, that's not a really good comparison, but yeah. There will be some really unique and interesting things happening in dungeons that I'm really excited to share with you guys, and I'm very intentionally leaving out of this conversation, unfortunately. But they're gonna be great, and I know you'll be excited for it once you see exactly what it is. All right. Will the new transform resource be linked to the constant shifting of forms? The attacks within the forms, all the above. Yes? I don't quite know how to answer that. It will be... Will the new transform resource be linked to the constant shifting of forms? Yep, you get it back when you shift. The attacks within the forms, yeah, some of them generate it. All the above. So yeah, I guess so.
cannot do that.
If a skill says X ailment chance from all sources is converted to Y, okay, and effects related to X now depend on Y instead, does that mean it includes your gear too? Yes. Yeah, gear is a source. Is the legendary going to be an eye-gouging pink? just hot pink. What's the... color code. No, that's not hot enough. What color code is that? Here we go. Until further notice, it's this. Sorry. Will the release of legendary items impact the rarity of most uniques, particularly monolith locked ones? There will be implications for uniques based on legendaries. I can't really tell you exactly what those implications are. The rarity of dropping them won't change. Getting exactly what you want out of a unique will change. The map randomization in the dev blog is the procedurally generated from like tile sets or what. I don't know if you can go into more detail on that. It's pretty limited right now at first. They'll be I'm so sorry, guys. I knew this would happen, and I'm like going into the stream. I'm just like, there's gonna be so many questions I can't answer. It's gonna be rough. It's just gonna be so rough. As far as the procedural generation for map content is considered, it's not what you're expecting. It's not like here's a straight piece, here's a corner piece, here's a T section, and we'll plunk them down and stitch them together. It's not that. But it will tie into the dungeon mechanics nicely. Because there's some new mechanics coming in the dungeon that it creates some really interesting design space for us, which we've been kind of looking for recently. And so this is a way for us to get into that space and have a lot more interesting boss fights. I think this really opens up space for an unlimited number of new boss mechanics that we haven't even discovered we can do yet. Most of them will be terrible and we won't do them, but there's lots of options now, which is great. Yeah, because I don't know if you guys remember, like one of the things that I mentioned frequently about boss mechanic design is there's only a set number of tools that we can assume the player has, which is move and attack. We know that you've got those two things no matter what. Haha, got him. Yeah, single target multi-strike kind of sucks. I know that's not news to anyone. Alright, keep it moving. Self-subs are off. Oh, self-sub, so like when you sub yourself, eh? I don't have anything that's like set to turn that off in the filtering. Well, I appreciate you, everyone who's doing it. I'm sorry there's problems. I'm not sure what's wrong with it right now. kind of a scrub when it comes to streaming. I'm a much better game developer than I am a streamer, which is good, considering my job is game development, not streaming. But I do quite enjoy this. It also just gives me a really good chance to play the game, which is so important. And I don't do enough of it. I have been getting a little D2 in at night right now. Just a little. It's been fun. Trip down memory lane. And like... Side note, my like the muscle memory of my hands for like joining games and like dealing with the lobby system, it's such that, and things have changed just tiny bit enough that it like causes problems. I join the wrong game all the time, but it's just like I'm just pressing the wrong buttons because the buttons have slightly changed. That's all it is. Muscle memory is strong. Which I think is pretty cool. What is a dungeon compared to existing content? It'll be like compared to an entire like monolith island, each dungeon will be shorter. Like each monolith timeline. A little bit more bite-sized. Specific reward goals. Yeah, that's eye-gouging enough. Yeah, the number I posted was the hex code for a very striking pink. Any plans to improve pet AI aggressiveness? They feel bad to play and run around too much. We've definitely stream yourself developing. We've done that. There was when a couple years ago, like right near Kickstarter, I was streaming actual game development and like showing how we did, like how the sausage is made completely, which was pretty cool, I think. But things need to be kept a little closer to the chest these days, unfortunately. So I can't show you the code, I'm sorry. Any plans to improve pet AI aggressiveness? They feel bad to run around too much. Yeah, like, so we've done a lot of work on it recently. Actually, a couple patches ago, there was a big overhaul with it. And I think they're way better than they used to be. We do want to add in, and there's been a few different ways we've talked about doing this. We're not 100% sure how we're going to do it yet. But directly in a pet's skill tree, we've talked about adding in like a panel here that lets you dictate their, like an AI profile for them. And we're not sure how in-depth that's going to be. We're not even sure if we're going to do it or not. But I think that's the most promising option so far, is having like a little set of tick boxes that's like, and I'm literally making this up as I go right now, but having like either just the classic like offensive, defensive, passive, or like prioritize bosses or prioritize rares or prioritize trash, or like, you know, I'm sure there's all sorts of things we could put in there. But yeah, we don't have details on that yet. But it is something that we know people want more control over their pets, because it's really hard to specifically because we do have such a big skill tree for every single skill, and there's like depending on what you've taken here. I mean, Manifest Armor is a great example actually, because of the stats and interaction you can get from your different gear. It can dramatically change how how it plays. So you might really want something to be very aggressive and go right in front of you. You might want something to sit back and try and be a little bit more defensive. So it's hard to say exactly how everyone's gonna play each minion. So like each minion does have a unique AI for that minion. And so each one of them does play a little bit differently, and it's sort of just how we've set them up, because how we think that we'd want to play with them, really. And we know that lots of people disagree with that quite a bit, which is totally fine and expected. so we know people want more control, and we're working on that. We've had people just, suggest like being able to click on the panel up here and have a drop down. That's another great idea as well. The big problem with that is we found that certain skills have really temporary minions. So we don't, like, for example, volatile zombie, we don't want you to have to like spawn a bunch of volatile zombies, quickly click on the portrait, select which one it's going to be, and like volatile zombies a little bit extreme case because we know that most people just want them to charge at their enemies and, you know, go blow up. But there are lots of temporary minions, so skills that proc temporary minions need to have a way of having those settings set. Now it's once again tricky because there's minions procced by items, and where do you put those ones? So we'll have to see. It might have to be like something on the character sheet as well that's just like tracks every minion you've spawned recently or something like that, and gives you an option to change stats on those ones. It's a ways out if it's gonna happen. We haven't started working on it. I probably just did more work on it in my head right now than we have in the last 6 months. Trying to escape? You can't escape me. Escape. Funny, it's spelled just like the word escape. Great movie. Will Shatter Runes ever become rare, semi-rare drops and removed from vendors and affix shard drops rates lowered? Right now they drop way too often and have hundreds of thousands of them just sitting, feeling like this would also make a good trade items on 1.0. Yeah, the availability and need for all types of crafting materials and the functionality of runes and glyphs are all going to get a big shake-up. So, forget what you know about them. There might be a bit of a balance issue with more experienced players who have too many of some of these things. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's going to be actually just fine. But yeah, post-patch stuff will do different things. Shattering, I think, is one of the least affected by it. Shattering might be the only one that's not affected at all. Shaping, that one also is pretty much the same. Might be exactly the same, actually. Wow. Okay, technically it's not exactly the same. Basically is. The multi-strike on a single target is just like poking the enemy like, come on, fall over already. Yeah. We'll get there. Nice. Ooh, 2 beetles. When the Tweedle Beetles battle and the Tweedle Beetle puddle, this is what they call Fuddle Duddle Muddle Puddle Wuddle Duddle Fox and Socks, sir. How you know someone has a small child is they can recite a few books off the top of their head very easily, because you end up reading the same book over and over and over and over again. I read the same book 4 times this morning. And I think it only stopped because I hid the book. Variety's good to have, right? Alright. Is your philosophy to have players be able to reach God tier eventually, or to soft cap progress at some point? Well, I have not reached God tier. I mean, I think if you work hard enough at it and like put enough time into it, I feel like there's a constant progression that's going to happen with your character, and you're going to be getting just a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and eventually, and like that rate will slow down. just naturally because there will be less room for improvement. But there's definitely a lot of content because we do like having that.
Oh, that's a close one.
It's closer than close because we do like having that sense of progression. Having certain content become trivialized because you've reached effective god tier status in that area, it is, I think, healthy overall for the game. And then we do have content that scales ad infinitum. So there's like the arena that will just go forever. And eventually it will become too hard for every character. Like there's no one that can survive tier or wave 40,000. You know? Like and the math is set that it would spawn wave 40,000. Just so you know. I mean, there's sort of a soft cap on progress, just based on like rarity, like to the point where you'd have to play forever to actually get the top two. Like getting a 4T7 item of the right stats, well rolled. The chance of that happening is quite literally astronomical. Like, it's not happening. And I think that's good, because it would be, wow, I am in need of some gear, because I haven't done any gearing or specking or anything like that. Whew. I think it's better when I almost die all the time, isn't it? Alright. Hi, hope you guys are doing great. I am doing great, Ryan. Hope you're doing great too. Are you remodeling a specific character's model or multiples? Yeah, we got lots of character remodels coming in. It's gonna be great. Bear form, Spriggan form. They're also getting glow-ups, which... glow-ups is an understatement. They're getting complete rehash. They look amazing. It's shocking. Like, I can't overhype how great they look. There was things when we were doing the... we were talking about the, like, werebear overhaul, like the effect of going into form or switching from form to form, and, like, the different effects that are available there. And I was like, well, it'd be cool if we could do this as a complete joke. And they just did it. And I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I'm feeling really good about that. Also, will legendaries have unique qualities other than just uber affix stat power? Oh yeah. Oh yes. They definitely will. Every legendary. Oh, there might be an exception to that. The vast majority of legendaries, possibly every legendary, will have some sort of unique, non-just straight stat affix. And we've got a big gifted sub list. Daedalus has gifted, I'm assuming it's Daedalus. I've like said it so many times right now, and I'm like hoping I'm right still, but thank you very much. That is 10 gifted subs to the channel, I think. That's about how big 10 usually looks. Yeah, it's 10. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Wonderful stuff. Glad to have you with us. Alright, let's get on to some more questions. I know I'm falling behind here. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with A-Bomb AI, but that man will moonwalk on mobs. Yeah, there's some issues there. that's the size scaling issue. That's actually a bug. And we should be able to fix it now, as far as I know. I know every update EHG updates 2D gear art to match 3D models in game. Can you share anything we might be getting? Ooh, I don't know any in particular that are happening. Let's see if I can find one. This is gonna take me forever to find. I'll try and have something next stream for you. Sorry. I don't want to sit here scrolling through Discord for an hour. Alright, has enemy design philosophy changed? No, yeah, I mean, everything's evolved as we go. Oh, there's my death, I see the Fs. Thank you very much. The mob types introduced in 8.3 seem to be deterring a lot of long-term players from pushing arena and such because of them being a lot stronger than we used to. Some would say OP. Yeah, I think that's like a question of balance, not design. I'm not that far behind, I caught up! What's the next thing you're most excited for the community to see in the next patch? What will blow our minds? I think you guys are gonna be the druid, the new druid form. It's like, that's an easy one. The new druid form is going to be so freaking awesome when you see it. I know I'm just like taunting at this point, but it's true. It's gonna be wonderful. I think people are going to be a little shocked at what legendaries are going to be as well. In a good way. In a very good way. But there's, the legendaries is, it's the answer to a few questions we've had about, like a couple systems where people have asked, like, oh, this seems out of place, like, this is just useless, what are you going to do about this? And it's like, this is what we're going to do about that. So I'm really excited for that. I know I just used this and that like 18 times in those sentences. So little description. Tolmat IP, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Great to have you with us. Welcome, welcome. I don't know if it says like if there's like a gap, so like if someone like sub misses 1 subs, does it like say 3 or does it go back to 1? I've never done that before. If I've stopped subbing to something, I've always like stopped and not started again. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Pew pew, Dryad Guardian, deal with that. Oh, I don't know if you can spill, but will the multi-transform shapeshifting support be form to form or form to human to form? You can do either. So, yeah, you can go straight form to form. There is, so yeah, I can say this. So there's a node on, so all 3 of the trees each have 2 nodes. So there's 6 nodes in total. And if you've taken any of those nodes, so say there's a node on Werebear that says, I don't know which skills they are, so I'm going to give an example that is almost for sure going to be wrong. So this is not what it says in game, but is an example of the style of thing it's going to say in game. So it'll say like, in Werebear, it'll say the next time you use, or when you use, Warcry, shout, in bear form, your human form ability is replaced with another ability name, and that ability, what it does is it's Barkskin. This one's Barkskin. I actually know it's Barkskin. And yeah, Bear to Spriggan is Barkskin. So your human form is replaced with Barkskin. What Barkskin does is it casts Thorn Shield on you and up to 2 other nearby allies, I think. Something like that. And then it also transforms you into Spriggan form. So you get like an ability that is relevant and useful in the form you're transitioning into, and thematic based on the form you're transitioning out of. It's a little confusing, yeah. So it's just a way to like shift from form to form. So you're going to you're like, okay, I like my rotation for this build is I'm gonna shout and then I'm gonna switch from Bear to Spriggan. And the switch from Bear to Spriggan, the reason we give it a different ability and a different name is just so that there's something else it's doing instead of just straight shifting you. So it's like, it shifts you, but also shifts you and gives you something that's going to be useful in the form you're going into. The nodes are a little wordy, but they feel really good and they play really well, which is the most important thing.
Stand down or die.
Time for first leak. I died earlier. I only have one this time. It's really cool. It's something that I don't think anyone knows we're doing yet. It's very on-theme druid, but it's nothing to do with shapeshifting. What could it be?
Stand down or die. I cannot do that.
It's like army of crossbowmen that just like show up and pew pew.
Stand down or die.
Cool. I'm so glad I have the ability to cleanse negative ailments on this character, because oh my goodness, this would be bad otherwise. I was gonna check and see if my smite actually is supposed to be cleansing, because it's definitely not.
I cannot do that.
Maybe it's only cleansing like other people and not me, not the player. That might just be a mistake.
I cannot do that.
Alright. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Let me check my smite tree. So confusing, I think you need to give CTs more time to test it. Good try. Good try. Alright. Smite. It's this right here, isn't it? Cleansing chance. Oh, it's chance. Yeah, it's there's a lot more points to be useful, isn't it? It's unfortunate. All right. What is Einai? The Frostroot Warden says freedom, death. Freedom, death. I think it said finally. Thoughts on the speed at which corruption is accrued in powered monos? I know last patch introduced bonus corruption to help characters catch up between monos, but it's still a slog for new characters to grind up corruption. Yeah, I think that having it jump up too quickly can be a trap and can lead to pre-feels bad moments of like, oh, I just did one, why is it so much harder all of a sudden type thing. I could see possibly having like optional challenges, like maybe if you kill Orbis or the Shade of Orbis really fast, it gives you more corruption, like a corruption bonus, or some sort of like totem that sits on the perimeter that just like keeps zapping you, and if you kill the totem, the fight's way easier, and if you don't kill the totem, you get extra corruption or something like that. Like some sort of optional extra challenge you can do to increase the speed. I could see that being possible. I would just be concerned about if we say just doubled the speed. I know it's just I don't know, or whatever, just double the speed you get it at. I think it could pretty easily put players in a situation where they're in the monolith and just can't hang, and I think that would be very frustrating. But I yeah, there's a lot of things like that we're still developing, we're still working on trying to get the feel right, and a lot of times the other systems that interact will change how those feel. Yeah, so it's hard to say what's best. Having other, like, so if you did overcorrupt it and you had to like go find a way to get better gear somewhere else to get your character more powerful or something, having other systems, other endgame systems available makes that a lot easier. But with Arena and Monolith being the only really endgame systems available yet, it's hard to have that extra thing to do. You know, there's other monoliths you can just go into. I know that as well. But usually that means going backwards, and for the most part, people don't like going backwards. I know there's a lot of stuff we're looking at with. We've been getting a lot of feedback regarding like second characters and those catch-up slogs in general. So like unlocking empowered monoliths on a second character when you have all of your gear that you've already got from the first one can sometimes be going through a lot of things that are really underleveled. And because we know that going through content that is not hard enough is also not really that fun. Like you just get through it, just fly through it. We'll be done in a second. I can get on to stuff that's actually fun and difficult. Like there's no reward here. It's just crap gear, and that doesn't feel good either. So it's being able to control where your challenge is very useful. So we are looking at ways to make that better.
I cannot do that.
That's a lot of poison. That was a lot of poison. Got those stacks. I was just watching the stacks. Alright, new druid form, silverback gorilla. Little close to bear, I think. But, I mean, it'd be fun. I can see that being a cool, like, skin for bear, you know? Because it's still on theme. The new form, though, the third transform. Oh my goodness, it's complicated. It's awesome, but some of the nodes, we've had to make a lot of new stuff for it to work, which is pretty cool. Alright, you could so troll the crap out of people by putting up a pic of a were llama. Yeah, I could. I capped mine, but it's just bleed pally javelin, so I kind of need it. I don't know where that was from. I'm sorry. Bonus corruption challenges would be sick. Yeah, so this. I just want to be clear as well. That's something that I was just thinking about right now on the stream. I have not talked or pitched that to anyone on the team at all. I just thought of it right now, so this is not something we've been considering or working on. But I'll mention it. See what people think. There's other people in here probably listening going like, no, Mike, that's a terrible idea. It'd be very bad if you accidentally clicked and dragged a new item on screen. It would be really bad. Yeah. I'm trying. It won't come over. I'm trying. I just can't grab it. Oh, I almost grabbed my Discord. Alright, what's the story behind that emote and why do you only have one emote? Do we only have one emote on the channel, really? Oh, we're slacking. That emote, the story behind it is, it's kind of silly. A few years ago, when we were really early on in this, someone made, when we were modeling the Primalist model originally, someone used a picture of me to model the Primalist's face initially, because I'm a burly guy. It's the nice way to call someone fat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm similar, you know, people. I used to work at camp and outdoors, that sort of stuff. But like, I got a big beard. I'm a big dude, so it was a good fit for the Primalist. So someone modeled the face after that. He's much more cut than I am, though. And recently it was remodeled and the face was taken out of it, so someone posted a Photoshop of a picture of me onto the Prime list. Yeah. That's all that is.
I cannot do that.
Sorry, Reimer, I'm trying to answer your question. I can't remember the name of it. Piece of paper scraping against the wall. Happy Friday! Can you spill some beans on upcoming dungeons that were mentioned? I don't really have much I can share with you on there. They're going to be fun. It's going to be the first little taste of randomization. We're starting slow with them, getting the mechanics right, getting the feel right. We do plan on adding a lot more dungeons as we go. We're like so we have to build a lot of systems to make dungeons possible. And so we kind of have a choice. We can either build the system to make dungeon possible and make the first dungeon and just hold on to it all this patch, and then next patch release a whole bunch of dungeons all at once. Instead, what we're doing is we're starting small with the number of dungeons and getting that out right away, and then we'll take feedback from that, beef up probably make some changes to the system overall, and then significantly expand the number of dungeons available. There's going to be a dev blog that'll explain all this and give a lot more details on the goals of what dungeons are designed to achieve. They've got multiple purposes, so it's supposed to fit a few things that we need to have in the game that are not in the game yet or too short supply in the game. Can you guys stop making such good archetypes and build diversity? I would like to finish more of the end game, but there's too many good builds to try. I'm sorry? I can just nerf half of them into the ground for you. How about that? We'll quote you in the patch notes as the architect of the giant nerf. Everyone will love you. No problem. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We wouldn't do that. What's your address? Oh, that's a good ring. That's a very good ring. Will new druid forms have more of a selection of skills when transformed, or a static set adapt via skill tree? It's a static set adaptable via a skill tree still, so you shift, you get a set of skills, that's it. They are, like, you can change the way they work quite a bit in the skill trees, a lot more than you could before. So I think it'll be really good. The problem with getting too many skills in there is you end up with a skill tree that's kind of all over the place. So the fact that we have a skill tree for every single one of our skills, it gives us design constraints in really odd ways. And one of them is we can't really put 20 different skills as possible bear form skills. Yeah.
I cannot do that.
But the ones we have, I think, will be very well received. Well, that's not a bad base. Get real lucky crafting on it, but it's not a bad base. What am I missing? That is. Alright, what are some of the challenges on developing masteries that fill a role in a class that's seemingly diametrically opposed to the other masteries? Shaman with ranged spellcasting and Void Knight have a spellcaster feel, though weapons with Void Knight help alleviate this feeling. Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that one of the really interesting things is having stats, like attribute stats scale the spells. that makes sense for everything in the class. So I think one of the big things we did that really helped a lot with Void Knight specifically was making a lot of their spells scale with Vitality instead of Attunement. And I think this, because Attunement is, or Vitality is naturally a very sentinel stat. And so having that, having those spells scale off of it, I think really helped tie that in to be more, like to make things fit better with the rest of the class. Because yeah, you want the lower sections, the left sections, used to being vertical still. You want these locked available sections of the alternate masteries to still be relevant for the mastery you've selected. So for example, there's this right here that's great for me in Paladin, even though it's in ForgeGuard. Because I'm so heavy into throwing it, it's there. So we tend to put more generically useful things at the bottoms of them, and then more specific things at the top. And then it's also like the layout of the skills. So we try and put things that we think that will. It's funny, we put things that we think will either be completely ignored by everyone else. So Manifest Armor, there's not a lot of Void Knights and Paladins that use this, I don't think. Could be wrong there, but it's pretty thematic heavy ForgeGuard, but it's still in the lower tree because we want you to access it sooner, but it doesn't need to be locked behind it because there's a lot of the synergies for it really go well with ForgeGuard. And then, yeah, like things at the base of the tree we usually want to be things that actually anyone could pick up and use, really. As I'm saying that, I'm looking around, I'm like, it's not quite what's happening everywhere, but it's how we try. It is tricky, though, having those, especially in the lower sections of the trees, having things that anyone will be able to use. It does mean that we end up with kind of generic nodes sometimes, which can be not perfectly ideal, but it's still, we still try and find ways to make them thematically appropriate or have multiple purposes in the node themselves. So sometimes a base node, I don't know a good example of this off the top of my head. I mean, there's not a bad example, actually. Maces and Scepters, so like people who are using maces are rarely the same people that are using scepters. So there's a node that's good for multiple types and sort of useless for the other. Like one half of it's really useful for you and the other half's just completely useless. So we try and do that sometimes too. I think that answered the question. I hope that answered the question. You asked about the challenges. I think the hardest part is getting it to feel like it fits and is cohesive, but still being unique thematically and mechanically. I think that like getting it to, it's the same but different, you know, like it's still in the same overarching ballpark. It's that like with this, it's that like heavy armored character that is like channeling magic effects in slightly different ways thematically. And then with Shaman and Druid and Beastmaster, it's that like the overarching connection to nature, but it is it's like there's different thematic shifts. So Shaman we try and make as like the Stormcaller is sort of the like subtext there, and Beastmaster is the Beastmaster. It's a pretty straightforward one, I think. And then Druid is more about I'd say nature magic is more theming there, but it's like woodland magic is wrong, but I think that's kind of the hard theme there. And we try and wrap them around a theme. Does the new transform have more or less hair than Mike's beard? I could be wrong about biology. I'm not as well versed in this type of thing, but I'm gonna say I have dramatically more hair on my beard than it has. I think it might be hairless. It's either completely hairless or has a shocking amount of hair that you just don't realize is there. I know we usually see skills outside the main reworked class get touched, i.e. static orb in 8.3. Do you have any guys have any your eyes on for 8.4? Yeah, there's base class skills. There's a new base class skill coming in for Primalist. I think one's getting removed. They're getting shuffled around a whole bunch. Some other ones will get some updates. Not as dramatic of an update as Static Orb, though, I don't think. One of them is, I think, getting moved from a base class skill to a mastery skill and getting a massive rework. But it might already be in the mastery. I don't know where it's sitting right now is the problem. I haven't looked at the Primalist passive tree the way it was in a while. Oh, we just leveled up all of our skills. Got another skill point. I'm gonna die if I just stand here and look at it, though. Please tell me the new form isn't one of those hairless cats. They're nasty. It's not a hairless cat. It's a good guess based on what I said. Not a hairless cat. Thanks for the in-depth answer. You're welcome. I'm glad you liked it. Sometimes like, that was a tough question. I really like that question. And sometimes I have a tough time. The tough questions I like, but sometimes I get rambly and sometimes I get off topic. So I'm glad that one stuck close enough that it was what you're looking for, at least a little bit. Oh, that's a close one. Those lines just spill out of me. It's not intentional. And I just stopped myself right there. I don't know why I stopped myself. Alright. I tried the Divine Fury Javelin build and I couldn't get it to work without going all the time. Do you think the mana cost is too high, or are there good ways of recovering mana? I think there's a few good ways of recovering mana right now. Multi-strike, or just any one of the, like, Rive, Vengeance, Multi-strike, any one of those abilities with this node, regen your mana super duper fast. So those are great to have. You can also get rings that have the negative throwing mana cost. That helps a lot. Like my mana cost, and that's 8 right now, but if I take these rings off, it doubles the mana cost of it. So like that's that's a pretty significant mana difference right there. So I would recommend getting rings that have that reduced mana cost. I would focus that. And I think that's important, is that when there's nodes that are really powerful and also create quite a bit of visual noise in a skill tree, having their resource costs, either be it cooldown or mana, go up is important to compensate. Or else there's just like clear, obvious choices of things to take. And so like, because I've taken stuff to bump up the mana cost of the skill, I have to take, I have to use up 2 of my affix slots to make the skill be cheap enough to actually spam. And I do chew through my mana, not like completely, but like I'll go if I just stand here, you know? Finding that balance is part of the build crafting.
I cannot do that.
It's possible that it's a touch high. I did have a tough time getting it to line up. We might need to make the base cost slightly higher, and then the cost per point in the node slightly lower, so when you've got it all, it's slightly lower overall, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe there needs to be just more mana options in the tree. Or maybe it's totally fine. right. What is the breakdown on time spent implementing versus designing skills percent-wise? Like 30% design, 70% implementation? That's a tough question to answer, and it varies wildly skill to skill. So some skills, we get into the design portion of it, and we're just like throwing out ideas, and the initial like Sam busts out an implementation, and everyone's like, oh my god, that's the skill, ship it, like let's start working on nodes. Sometimes we spend years off and on perfecting a skill. I will show you the results of one of our longest running skill designs in the game that we have literally been designing for years now. And I could not be more thrilled with the new version of it. It's changed so many times. I'll get to it right after this timeline, or Echo. So to answer keep answering your question though, it varies wildly per skill. I would say the average, and it's okay. So it's also the number of people working on it. So we're talking about like person hours. The categories change wildly as well. Person hours, QA is the longest time because the QA imbalance, because there's so many people that end up testing it, so there's so much time there. Design, there's also way more people working on design than implementation, but implementation usually takes longer. So for most skills, we have an initial design meeting for the skill, where we get the base functionality set. Then we have a tree ideation meeting, where there's quite a lot of people in there, and it's just people throwing out ideas. We use a Google Sheet, like a Google Draw, Google Drawings in Google Drive. I could probably show you one of those at some point. That'd be cool. And it's just like, it's basically the skill trees just in little bubbles and text. And we have different arrows that mean different things and color coding that means different things. But people just like throw it on the wall and see what sticks. And sometimes we come out of there and there's 50, 60 node ideas. And then we go in with a much smaller group. It's Trisoki and myself and Reimer and a couple other people. And we end up just trimming down the nodes that we can do and think are good, removing duplicates, things like that. And then we get an initial version of all of the layout done for it there. And then we go into implementation of the actual skill tree itself. And that's I don't know his handle, and I don't know if I should say his real name. So there's someone else that works on it a lot, and he's fantastic. And me that do most of the implementation of the actual like making it so that when you do this, it rains instead of shooting out forward. And Reimer usually does most of the like laying this out and hooking all up the nodes to do what they say they're going to do, so that it passes the information to the mutator that then actually changes the skill. So it's a pretty big process, and there's none of them are the same. So like the third transform that we're doing right now, the implementation side of it has taken a long time because there's some weird stuff that it does that nothing else does. The anticipation right now, I'm boiling. Sorry. Oh, because I said I was going to show something, and then I'm just like rambling. Okay, here we go. You guys have been patient. You've been fantastic. Here is a first look at a rework of a long-time skill that is... Ooh, new question. Let me answer that first. Oh, wait. This is a look at the initial, the base version of, no, it's not Tempest Strike. This is a rework for Entangling Roots. So Entangling Roots is going to be a Druid locked skill, actually. And yeah, it sends out a large wave that hits everything and wraps any enemies caught in it, and they're immobilized, and the dots applied to them, and yeah. Yeah, the tech for the roots is pretty brand new and looks amazing. And I'm being told the visuals have been updated since then. This was a video I got given this morning by our VFX artist, so I think it might be the default, the most up to date ones, unless it's changed since then. But yeah, this is it is. I mean, everything's a work in progress until the patch comes out. But yeah, let's keep going. Tree slam. Yeah. How is the progress on updating UI for character creation and selection screens? It's going really well. It's being worked on from, like, we know the functionality we want in there because we've had it for quite a while, but the like the story flow and the like visual flow and then like a lot, like the UX of it is has been updated a lot, and then the UI has been completely redone. It's not finished yet though. Are we getting new werebear form for Druid? Yeah, we are. Oh, when are we getting? Yeah, we're totally getting it. Getting it next patch. And I don't know when next patch is going to be yet, I'm sorry. Would love to tell ya. Would love to tell ya. It would mean I knew too. No, we have a rough timeline on it, and the rough timeline is exactly what you'd expect it to be, based on history for us. It's just we don't like setting exact dates until we're confident. Like maybe something comes up with dungeons, and we're like, oh, we can't release dungeons without this feature, and this feature's not going to be done on time, and we don't want to release the patch without dungeons, so we'll push the patch back or something like that. Like that's possible. Who knows? Very unlikely, but it happens. Which is why we don't like putting a release date out ahead of time, because we get stuck to that, and delaying announcement of the release date is like we know it's frustrating, but it's I think less frustrating than having delays after we've announced the release date. I think we've proven that we're able to be consistent. We've got years of really consistent patch timings. Does that mean the sustain is gone from roots since it no longer envelops an area around you? The tree did get rebuilt from scratch. It kept more nodes than it did keep a couple nodes, so like it's not a 100% redo, but the shape is mutable now. It's a fancy way of saying it can change. How many bee-related legendaries are there? 2 that I know of. Off the top of my head. Is only 8.4 planned for this year, or 8.5 also? I do not think that we have any. I think 8.4. All I'm going to say is the patch release dates are going to happen relatively evenly, similar to what they've happened to in the past. If you go back and check the patch notes dates on all of the previous patches, you can get pretty close to when the next patch will be, probably. and the patch after that will likely be pretty similar as well, I think. Like, it's hard to say, because I don't know.
Too heavy.
Too heavy? Let me just reorganize some things. I've got pockets for days. While some might not be men of many pockets, I am. I love that voice line. Not a man of many pockets. Alright. Hello! Any of you more informed people, can you point me to a source about the item shop that is planned? I'd really like to know more about that, since it's a major deciding factor for if I should play by the game. Sorry in advance if this question comes often. I'm new to these dev streams. Totally fine. That is a not actually that overly common of a question. I get what, once a stream or so. The best place to get information about that is right here, probably. I'm assuming you're referring to like MTX shops stuff. So like, what are we gonna charge real world money for in the game? And the answer is really strictly cosmetic only. So like a question came up recently about in our we also have our Discord channel that has an Ask the Devs channel where you can ask us all these same questions, and it's usually me in there answering stuff. There's a few other people that pop by and answer questions too. But anyways, there's a question recently about something, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a pay for convenience factor, basically. It was items, gear switching. Someone was like, I would pay money for a gear switching wardrobe, like Diablo 3's wardrobe system. And I think this is a really good example of the sort of things we would and wouldn't charge for. So if we were to implement a wardrobe gear switching system, it would be an in-game mechanic, and we'd use in-game systems. We don't have one yet right now, but if we were to add one, it wouldn't be based off of like pay $10 and you can now have 2 loadouts that you can switch between freely. It would be maybe there would be an in-game gold cost, but that's just a resource that you earn by playing the game, you know. So maybe like, and so the in-game example of that already is stash tabs. So we don't charge real world money for stash tabs. The big, like the really big comparing example of that is Path of Exile, and like I just want to be clear that I think the big difference is the Path of Exile is a free-to-play game. There's no sticker price on the game. You don't have to buy a box that is, okay, you now own Path of Exile, you can just download it. So I think selling things like stash tabs and loadout systems and convenience factors, things that don't actually have gameplay implications, well, there's a debate into itself, but I think there's the big distinction between the two games is we have a sticker price and they don't, and which is why we're really strictly doing cosmetic only and not pay for convenience. So we're not going to put, we won't charge for experience boosts or magic find boosts or gold find boosts, or you know, like we're not going to put those things in the shop, in the like the MTX shop. We even call it the cosmetic store because it's cosmetics only. I hope that answered the question. I think that's what you were asking. And if it wasn't, you can ask again. Or also you can head on over to our Discord and ask in there. Oh god. I've just been told this is the new concept art for our new form. If you couldn't tell, it was a llama. I'm just kidding. Oh, we go back to some questions. You didn't have to call out Mage like that, jeez. Mage is my boy. What are you talking about? Tywin and I are tight. Oh, people see the new trailer for the Reign of Dragons or whatever it is, or the, I don't know what the actual the new Game of Thrones one. Super excited for that. Also, cosmetic MTX when? Please let me change the Necro hat, please. Yeah, the we're working on the cosmetic stuff. There's a lot that goes into that, from just like the UI UX of the store itself, the the technical backend for purchasing stuff, then actually making the cosmetic items to purchase, having the equipping system, everything. Like there's a lot that goes in there, and so there's a lot to do still. And I know we've also received requests from many people in the community that we finish making 3D art and 2D art of items that are already in the game match first before adding those. And we're actively working on that too. Just the spawner in the corner, and I'm just killing them as they spawn and not killing the spawner. So good. All pro. All pro. With multiplayer, will there eventually be small player hubs, or will it be strictly just find a party and load in with them? That's definitely stuff we're still working on and fleshing out. I think the goal is to have party hubs, player hubs. So more akin to Path of Exile than Diablo 2, if you've got those references ready. I do love the Diablo 2 system, though.
I cannot do that.
The ability to put up trade games while still doing other stuff, I really liked. I mean, we're not doing the same trading system as them, so it's not really a good argument to have it for us. But it's a nice feature to be like, oh, I want to sell I don't know, a 3x3 for an un-ID'd torch, a 3x3 and a NIST for an un-ID'd torch or something. And you just put up a game like that and then farm while you're in there.
I cannot do that.
Bad totem. Whack. Really helps a lot. Thank you. I'm gonna buy the game now, as I think you are a trustworthy man and want to reward your honest answer. Thank you. No, thank you very much. I hope you have fun and enjoy your time playing Last Epoch, because that's the most important thing. Yeah, there's so many monetization things that are difficult to navigate, because there's a few goals in mind, like keeping the game running is a pretty important goal of monetization, so we still have money to pay everyone that works really, really hard on this. But also just having something that's good value for players, and something that people feel confident when they spent their money on it, that they're getting something that's fun and something they can enjoy and play for a long time. And striking that balance is so hard, but we do our best. Any insight into corruption farming on alts, similar maybe to current boss corruption based on higher corruption in other monoliths? Yeah, so that's that question came up earlier about that's up. We've been talking about it. We don't have any finite answers yet, but we are looking to improve that experience. Any plans on a transmog system like WoW or Grim Dawn? Yeah. Once again, we're working on it. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but yep. All right. Is there ever going to be a use for the Thorns type affix in game? It's kind of weak right now. Not sure how you can make it an active playstyle, but just don't know if y'all ever plan to make it viable. I mean, I think there's room for it, but it's tough. It's tough to make it like, it's tough to make it fun and engaging, and not just I'm gonna sit here and things are gonna punch me and they're gonna kill themselves. You know, like we'd like it to be more than just that. Okay, I'm gonna stick some weapons in here because I know I got a few that are possibly really good. Gloves. Boots. Bad relic. Bad relic, Mike. Smoke Weaver, who wants one? Oh, that's one people have a tough time finding. Let's get some more info. I don't think we're going to make it to the end of this timeline, this stream. I can do like 3/4 of a timeline in a stream, but I can't quite do a full one. If I was racing and rushing, I probably could get through a full one, but I like to hang out and talk, you know. Take my time. Alright, any info you can share about the dungeon system? It's been tackled differently by many games, and I wonder what will be like in this game. Yeah, I can't really tell you much about it yet, because it is still in development. We are planning a dev blog about it, so there'll be a big dump of info for it. It's going to serve multiple purposes. It's not a single-purpose event, and it will be expanded upon in subsequent patches. So the initial version of it will be a little light in content that's available for it, a little, but it's gonna have some really great rewards, so you're gonna want to do it. You'll definitely be wanting to do it. You'll prepare for a reward, and then you'll go do it, and you'll get your reward, and you'll be real happy, or a little disappointed maybe, but have to redo it again to get a better reward. But whatever it is, it'll be very strong. We did find some edge cases that are not very strong with the rewards, but you have to manually and very intentionally do that. You can set it up such that the rewards are really bad, but you have to very specifically and carefully do that. Like you have to work to make it be a bad reward. But I do very much expect that to be a thing that people do. I'm gonna want to see the worst possible reward you can make out of the dungeon. That'll be a challenge I ask for post patch. And there'll be some funny ones. There's one we came up with already that's the obvious one, but yeah, you'll see. I know I'm like telling you nothing by saying this. I'm so sorry, but it'll be funny. A few people here, a few questions. I'll get to those in a second. I see a challenge accepted or two. I'm glad. I look forward to seeing what you guys can make. Speaking of D2, thoughts on titles for specific accomplishments? King of Random Name X, please. Yeah. I think that's great. I think that sort of stuff is awesome. I think it needs to be... I think there's a line, though. So I think if it's something like just... completed the game, you get the title Protector of Eterra. Yeah, okay, maybe that one. If there's a title for every single boss, it's a little much for, not really doing, like, just completing the story or whatever. Sure, if you come out of the story with a dozen titles, I think that makes some of the harder to get titles a little invalidated. I very fondly and specifically remember my title in WoW that my character always ran around with since getting it was Grand Crusader, and was very proud of that title. But because there's so many titles out there, no one really knows what it means. If anyone knows what it means, cool. You're a hyper nerd just like me. And like it's tough. Like the really important and impressive ones, I think, are really cool. And I think having specific achievements for those is really cool. Having them be limited in what's available in some cases, I think, is really cool. Yeah, we don't know exactly what we're going to do yet, and that's why I'm phrasing it as I think and is really cool, because I don't know exactly what's going to happen yet. I love the VFX for that, and I realize I hit it behind myself, but whatever. I got to see it. All right. Next question. And speaking of D2 and titles, D2 didn't have... Oh, it had... yes, okay, it did. Sorry. I'm like, it didn't have titles. It did. It had Matriarch, Patriarch, Champion, Destroyer, Slayer, Guardian. I've missed one, probably. Which I do think is cool. Like, when it's limited like that, like getting the hardcore ones for killing Hellbale, like that's pretty cool. Anyway, sorry. For multiplayer party play, will we get graphic sliders for other party members' minions, like an opacity slider? We gotta do something with that. We're not sure exactly how we're gonna do it yet, but we gotta do something. Oh, I know in the past you have talked about maybe looking to add more leaderboards ladders in the game for things like corruption. Has anything come up? Internal discussions on further explore that? We're still working on the technical side of it. Remember when you did the community poll and said you would rework Tornado? What happened? It got pushed back, and it got pushed back, and it got pushed back, and it's coming. It's coming. It has got some love since then. Someone broke the code on the teleporting bears, I think, for a non-ARPG. Someone broke the code for the teleporting bears, I think, for non-ARPG vets like myself. Yeah, it's okay. If anyone's wondering, there are bears in the game called Jawith, and they are bears. So Jawith bears, Jawith Burr, is the set of runes required to, and the bears can teleport. Is a set of runes required to make an extremely popular rune word. It's crafting. It's not technically crafting, but it's crafting in Diablo 2. That gives you the ability to teleport, called Enigma. Wait. Chat isn't getting spammed with this, so I gotta ask. Warlock when it's ready. Sorry, got nothing else. Generally with stuff, you can gauge how close it is if you're seeing teasers for it. We have not been launching any Warlock teasers yet. Glad to the troll question to give it a good troll answer. Yeah, I know you around here, these parts. Felt like I'd give you a little bit trollier of an answer. Whoa, getting some, feeling the heat there. Oh yeah, there we go. Stay alive. Stabilize. Cleanse, yes. Oh. That was a tough one. We're not done yet. No problem. No problem. Now that we've said Warlock, what's the general theme for Warlock? Have you guys iterated on that yet? Curses, soul themes, spells, what's going on? Yeah, we've got some spells lined up for it. Nothing, eh? And so we've got some stuff lined up. It's tricky to really give details on it because it really could change quite a bit. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it a little quiet for now. Sorry. It's a pretty nice base. Shred armor. What do I have now? Yeah, it's the dual lightning prefixes that I really like. Let's give it a shot. We're gonna do a little crafting sesh here. We're gonna try and get this up as high as we can go. It's not gonna go well. It is not gonna go well. That is melee lightning damage. Starting strong. I did the wrong affix. I was going to do lightning damage. And I realized too late. That's what I get. Fractured on me. Rip. I also wasn't putting guardians in like I should have. You want to know how not to craft things well? That's how. That was a great tutorial in not doing things well. I was bragging recently about how great RNG I'd had on stream. So I just had to knock myself down a couple pegs there. Oh, that's a patrol. It also says patrol, so I could just read. Oh, mama. Oh, yeah, that's a beefy boy right there. Beefy boy. Do you prefer simple proposals, such as what do you think of this X, that you could develop later, or proposals that are already developed and detailed? I mean, both are very valuable to do. Sometimes I see the really detailed suggestions that come onto Discord and our forums, and they'll have like it's really tragic because someone's clearly put a ton of work into it, and right at the very start it'll have like an assumption or a suggestion that the whole thing is predicated on, and it's like that thing right at the start that we just can't do or won't do because of it kind of goes against some other design system that we have in place, or maybe we just don't like that one little bit at the start, and like it just invalidates the whole post, and my heart breaks when I see that, because I'm like, someone spent hours working on this and we just can't do any of it. So that does happen sometimes, which is frustrating for I'm sure everyone involved, but there's also sometimes where we have like really long detailed posts and like 99% of it's completely useless, and then like there's one little nugget of beauty in the middle and we can just slip that out and use it. So both those things happen. There's the bears. Oh no, those are just giant bears. Cave bears. So it's tough. I think in general, more open-ended ideas get looked at more heavily, just because there's more room for tweaking it, I guess. But it's a pretty big generalization. The healing on this one is strong. I like it. Nice vitality move speed boots, I think. Oh my goodness. We got there. Oh, that doesn't go away when she dies. All right. Last question. What's the safe word that Rhymer or other ESG staff says to prevent you from saying too much? We don't have one. If I see someone spamming me on Discord a whole bunch, be like, ping, 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 they'll stop. All right. Well, I think that'll just about wrap us up for the day. You all have been wonderful. I had a great time. I hope you did too. That was really close. Oh. Whew. That was really close. Okay. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Thank you all for coming out. We will see you next time. You all have been wonderful.